For a man, we're constantly prioritizing.
Mm,
How important is this? What's number one? What's number two? And anything below that goes into not necessary now. Okay. It's like we only have so much bandwidth. We will focus on what's the thing I have to do now, what's next, and then maybe I'll worry about other things. But it's really focusing on one thing. Women do it differently. They take on everything weighs the same in a sense, that so she could be just as upset about their shoes sitting in front of the TV set and I have to clean that up as opposed to I have to go and pay the mortgage bill. Okay. So and we don't have enough. Okay. So there's the dynamic of not weighing everything the same. Men will say, okay, what's the most important? Not going to do it. And that's why often men forget to do the little things, is because we're doing the big thing. I'm working hard to make money. That's the most important thing. So everything below that becomes unimportant. Now, when we're courting a woman, dating her, falling in love with her, we're not really ready to give the big stuff. So all we're willing to do is the little stuff. And that's what opens women up, is lots of little stuff. And then to be married, you get married. That's a big stuff. That's important to continue on. But to continue on doing the little stuff creates a romantic love. Uh, and people say, I want to feel what we felt in the beginning. Well, go back and be like you were in the beginning, where he would do lots of little things, and that makes no sense to a man. So I've just explained the way men think, which is bigger is better, and the biggest. Why do I need to do the little? And when you complain about something little, we go, but I do all this big stuff. It's so insulting for you to complain about the little. But for her, in her mind, if you won't do the little, how can I trust you to be the big? See how, from either
mhm.
perspective, so it's a misunderstanding. And so we can create dynamics to bring that, to create those hormones. And I think one of the most popular ideas of the book, Men Are From Mars, and by the way, most of these ideas we're talking about here is that beyond Mars and Venus, I talk about all the hormones and how man can help a woman come back to her female side, what a woman can do to boost a man's male side. But it's not that different from Men Are From Mars. But when I wrote Men Are From Mars, it was primarily focused on couples where men were more masculine and women were more feminine. And now we're in a world where it's starting to be a role reversal happening here. And that was natural, because as women become independent, men want to connect. We want love too. I mean, just think about, the strong sex drive that most men used to have. Uh, it's dwindling now, but sex, at least in his 20s, they do studies showing that men think about sex every minute. Okay, there's not a minute that goes by where he's not thinking about sex, and women certainly aren't, in those tests at least. So that's a strong desire. And what is sex but connecting? It's connecting with a woman. It's going into a woman. It's being one with a woman. Okay, so that's this connection. So if a woman's more masculine, in order to connect with her, he will start to become more feminine. So these polarities of masculine and feminine, they're very complementary forces. They're everywhere in the universe. The expansive
Mhm.
force is the feminine energy. The contraction force is the masculine energy. Now, this microphone here, if it was just expansive energy, it would just blow up. And if it would be a black hole if it was just contraction. So these forces are always working together, trying to find out balance. And it's also how we experience anything is through contrast. It was like, I recently, a week ago, I was had a toothache and went to the dentist. And after something I got caught in my gum and got inflamed. And so I was in pain. And this is the thing, when you're in pain, it's really hard to be loving. And
Yeah.
he scraped that out and the pain was gone, I was so happy. And what I realized, Michelle, is that the reality is I'm happy most of the time, but I don't necessarily feel it as much. So the key is, can you feel the state of being that you're in, the state of happiness? Because I'm not rarely stressed. For me, I'm rarely stressed. So it's like in a sense, I had to contrast of feeling the pain to go, oh, this is how I feel. I feel happy. And so there's this contrast. If if you get into a warm bath, it feels so good getting in. But if you just stay still, you won't feel the warmth after a while. So you have to move the water a bit and have contrast of more or less, more or less. That's how we're allowed to feel. Now, when we bring that whole idea into sex and making love, what I have found, particularly for men, which then has an effect on women, which is when a man has sex with a woman, that's when he will feel the most. He will feel pleasure the most. And so it's a little discipline that I teach called enlightened sexuality, which is, and now at this time when you're able to feel more than any other time, feel the love that's in your heart and share that with your partner. Express that to your partner. And when she's having sex, she's going to be more vulnerable than any other time.
Right.
What it means to be vulnerable, one way of understanding vulnerability is being in a situation where you give someone the power to make you feel really good or to make you feel really bad, to hurt you. So
Mm,
that's vulnerability. That's what love is. When your heart is open, you're giving someone the ability to make you feel really good. Ideally, that's
mm,
what sex is you feel a lot of love. You feel really good. But when you feel really good, you're also giving someone the power to make you feel really bad. That's why couples will have often the most tension, before they start having sex. It tends to be rather easy. Once you have sex, these walls, we take them down. And so we can open up to our partner where a woman says, I'm allowing you to see me and love me and do things that make me feel really good. So that will take her to a higher level of estrogen. I'm trusting you to be there for me, not be cruel to me, mean to me, judgmental to me, critical, but you're gonna love me. And a man at that time, he will feel more because she is being vulnerable. That allows him to feel more. And because it's so pleasurable, it allows him to feel more. So it's learning how to focus the attention for a woman on how to be more vulnerable, for a man, how to be more expressive of his love through his touch, through his words, through his interaction, and by feeling love. I can choose to feel my right hand or I can choose to feel my left hand. It's just a choice. I can choose to feel, oh, more and more pleasure. Oh, this pleasure feels so good. That's kind of like this ice cream tastes so good. I love ice cream, but that's different kind of love from I love my partner. So, men can just go do porn and feel love for a moment. I love how I feel. But that's not, we're talking about real love, which is I'm feeling the love in my heart that I have for my partner and reflecting on how much I love them and my commitment to her and over. So I have another hack for that, which is now this isn't when you're just dating. This is when you have start having a relationship with someone, and it's called the reassurance exercise. Have we talked about the reassurance
I
exercise?
don't think so.
Okay, so
Uh-uh.
this is we've done a lot of talks together. So this is really one of the most powerful things I do with my couples. Is that first of all what it looks like, and then how do you set it up? Okay, because if I'm talking to both partners, it's very easy, but I'm talking to women here mainly. How you will now communicate to your partner to do what I'm asking him to do, or what you'll be asking him to do. So it looks like this. Uh, every day, I do 4 hugs a day. Okay, that's another hack. Just you bring affection into a relationship. Women need that. Men don't realize how good it feels until they start doing it for a while. And then because it's making her feel good, it makes you feel good. It keeps you more connected to being on your male side, doing something for her, pursuing her, and then feeling her reaction. Then you can be on your female side too. So you get both sides. It's an amazing concept, but about why men need women. We might cover that, but I want to finish the reassurance exercise because this is why women need men. Okay. Every woman, when she gets ready, they put on an outfit and they're thinking, what will look good? What will people like? How will I be best presentable? How will I be lovable? And you're married, you want to feel loved. I mean, it's like if you've got a lot of money in the account, you're checking to make sure it's still there. Okay. That's what
Right.
love is. It's more important than all these people liking me. Boy, my love. So it's the need for reassurance. Now, Bonnie, for those that don't know, Bonnie's my wife of 34 years, and uh, she passed on 5 years ago. I'm remarried now. But so this is with Bonnie in the very beginning. she would always say to me, John, I need reassurance. I need reassurance. It wasn't clear what she meant. I mean, one of the reasons we had a great relationship is she was able to communicate in a way that I could hear. And I'm like thinking, what does it look like and whatever. And eventually I figured out this process. And the process is, and I don't want to diminish women in any way in explaining this, women needing reassurance. Men need reassurance in terms of we're a success. We're always looking to what have I done? If you're happy, I'm happy. If you like the movie I brought you to, you go, that's a great movie. I go, yes, I wrote that movie. I directed it. We're looking for ways to feel successful. That's why. Why? Because we need to make 10 times more testosterone than a woman. We need to make 20 times more testosterone in order to be romantically interested in our partner. So that relationship has somewhere in it needs to bump his testosterone up. And somewhere in that relationship, it needs to bump her estrogen up. So when I get reassurance that I'm a success, and like if ever I'm talking and she says, oh, what a good idea, bump testosterone. What am I getting at that moment? Reassurance. I say, oh, explaining something, and she goes, what a good idea. Boom. Now she may be thinking it, but if she says it, it's much more powerful. All right. So now the flip side of this exercise, the reassurance exercise, is for a woman. When you're doing it, we're going to do the reassurance exercise. He says, good, let's do that. And then she says, or he could say, let's do the reassurance exercise. And she says, okay. In this exercise, she starts out by saying, do you love me? He says, yes. Now, then she says, how much do you love me? He says, with all my heart. And she says, do you still think I'm beautiful? Absolutely, honey, you're so beautiful. Are you happy to be dating me? Are you happy to be married to me? Yes, I'm happy. I'm so happy to be married to you. Will you always love me? I will always love you. If I make mistakes, will you forgive me and not punish me? I will forgive you and not punish you. Whatever comes up. But those are the basics of, do you like me? Do you love me? Do you have fun with me? Are you happy you're with me? It could be, do you regret being married to me? No, I don't regret being married to you. Because these are feelings that crop up in women that I've seen every woman in counseling. Okay. So I know they're there. Some women may not be aware of it, but it's there. And who doesn't want your partner saying you're so beautiful? The problem is, as a woman, as a human being, we all have resistance to being loved. We want love, but we often have resistance. And if your husband just says, oh, honey, you're so beautiful, a part of you goes, yeah, but I'm getting older, in your mind. Or he says, I love you so much. And she says, well, if you love me, why did you forget to do that thing for me the other day? It's like when he's pushing the love, there's resistance that can come up. But if she asks, there's no resistance. She has to it's a leap of faith. It's a scary thing to do this exercise. And this is why you discuss it with your partner, and all their answers will always be in the affirmative and no making jokes or anything. But this is a sweet thing that really makes her feel good. And now, how would you present this to the man? You'd basically say, honey, you're just so amazing. Sometimes I feel like, you do so many things for me. You're so amazing. I feel less than you. And I start feeling a little insecure. So this little exercise would help me feel equal to you. Again, you're always coming back to feeling equal. Now, isn't it interesting, even as I'm saying this, because I know some women are going, I'm equal to him. Of course I'm equal to him. Well, that's the whole feminist movement, is we want equality with men. Well, why do you want equality? You don't see men running around going, we want equality with women. And you can have response to that. But it's like, there's a place, I want to feel equal. Okay. And so they're all like, who's getting paid equal and who's getting the reality is, you're in a relationship, you will start to feel not equal. And the way you deal with that is resentment. Whenever you're feeling resentful, you're feeling things aren't equal. See, again, you need reassurance that things are equal. And so when you start seeing that it's not equal, you start feeling unfair, unjust, or you start feeling insecure, or you pump yourself up, or you do more to prove that I'm equal. So all that, whatever the reasons are, just try it out, where you just say, every woman loves to have a husband say, you look so beautiful. Now, if you don't have a discussion and you said, honey, do you still think I'm beautiful? He said, well, of course I do. Why would you say something like that? Or if you say, do you love me? Well, why would you think I don't love you? What did I do wrong? Why were you asking these questions? So the way you have to set it up is answer all those questions in advance and just say, you're so amazing. I love you so much, but sometimes I feel like I'm not as good as you. I don't feel equal. That makes him willing to do this exercise. Okay. So I need reassurance. And it would look like this. It takes less than 2 minutes. Okay. It's a simple thing. Once a day, we'll do this. And one of the hugs, if you do the 4 hugs a day and one of the hugs, then you do the reassurance was, do you love me? Yes, I love you. How much do you love me? With all my heart. Okay, that's the basics of it. And then whatever we want to add to it. Do you still think I'm beautiful? Are you still mad at me from the other day? We had that argument. No, I'm not. You basically are getting reassurance that everything is okay. Now, there were other techniques of reassurance as well, which is if ever we had a little bit of an argument, I will always take a timeout. Very important biohack. Okay, if a man's angry and he talks, he won't become angrier. This is what women have to all know. If a man is angry and he talks, he will only become more angry. Why? Because when you have connected to an emotion and you communicate, that emotion will just become stronger. His estrogen levels will go higher and higher. And for men, if estrogen goes high and his testosterone's not going high, then he's in fight or flight. And if he's in fight or flight, she will be in fight or flight. There's no thinking, oh, well, you should try to be a good listener, woman. No, you're in fight or flight. You can't listen. Nobody can hear another point of view when you're in fight or flight. So one of the tactics there is to take a time out until he feels better. And then he comes back to have the conversation again. He has an exit phrase, which is, honey, I just need to think about this for a while. And then we'll talk tomorrow at noon, or we can talk in a half an hour, or we can talk next Tuesday at our therapist session. Whatever it is, you have to give her, I'll be back at a certain time, but it's better to have it a short time. And, I just need some alone time right now, and then I'll be done. And we can talk about this on Thursday with our counselor or whatever. You have to give her a reassuring gesture that we're going to come back and we're going to talk about something. At the same time, he pulls away. And she has to practice not looking at him like, what's wrong with you? Okay, you're not a loving partner. He's protecting you. And this is what Bonnie told me one time after I took my time out. And then I came back in. She said, honey, thank you so much for protecting me from your dragon. Okay, so I was getting thanked for walking out on a heated conversation. That freed me up so much. So many men, when I tell this story, they go, yeah, that would be great. We always feel a little guilty that, we're starting to get angry and we walk away. That's what men do. And what we have to just add to it and we'll walk back. But when it came back, that was once again, we had a reassurance hack. Now in our relationship, when I came back after being a little grumpy, I come back and I would just stroke her head. That's what she liked. Some women go, I don't want to be petted. Okay. So, but you have to have something. We just come in and offer to do something, show her that you're Mr. Friendly again. And in a relationship, when you understand Mars, Venus, we as men have to work harder at giving respect for what women have to say. And why is that? Because women need to speak out, because if they don't, they're suppressing. And if they have to suppress and you're censoring her, so to speak, then what occurs is her stress levels will go up and her negativity will increase. So this is what men have to understand. For men, if I don't have to speak, so many men are quiet about stuff. We basically communicate through our actions. Okay, so our actions do our communication. And if I have negative reactions, I don't behave that way. I process my feelings for sure, but I don't have to go throw them on my partner. If I have any negativity, and this is, if you'd say, John, what's the most important thing in your marriage is my value system. Okay, my value system is never, ever to hurt my partner in any way. And now I understand the ways I would hurt her. Most men don't realize the way they hurt their partners. They never wake up thinking, gee, I want to hurt my partner. But we do unknowingly. And so this is the whole idea, is realizing to create a freedom of expression for women. But at the same time, there's an appropriateness to how women need to express themselves. You can't just, say whatever's going on inside of you in any situation. You find the appropriate time, the appropriate place. If you want to complain about your husband, go talk to a girlfriend who will go, yes, my husband too. You'll get right. That. And go to a good therapist, a Mars Venus coach, for example, go to them and they'll explain, they'll hear you. And then they'll say, Okay, now what's another way you could communicate that to your partner? How can you ask for what you want? What is it you're needing and how can you ask for that? Now you've vented out your feelings, your estrogen levels are up. Now let's go to your testosterone side and solve the problem, what you can do about it. So this is, handling both sides, but always with women, the importance of being able to express and share what's inside of her is the essence of how to come back to your female side. And I know that's a big question that women ask you, Michelle, is that, how do I get back to my female side? I want to find that soft, loving part of me. It's like no man is good enough for me. I seem to be picky about all these things. What is it? I said, that's being too far on your male side, or that feeling of being overwhelmed and stressed. How to come back to your female side, these biohacks, asking your partner for support, and getting the reassurance exercise. And you could start with doing it twice a week. And you can say to your partner, if I'm not doing it enough, then you can say, let's do the reassurance exercise, and then I'll do it. Because my experience is, ironically, all men are willing to do this, and women are the ones who don't do it. And I can understand that too, because it's scary. It's scary.
It's emotionally vulnerable. What I'm hearing a lot of, it's emotionally vulnerable for a woman to ask for that reassurance. And I think this is something that probably a lot of men don't understand how important that is for a woman, because they're like, well, I told her once that I loved her, and I already told her that I thought she was beautiful. Why does she need to ask me this again and again?
And you just hit on something I forgot to say. So when you're setting this up with your partner, you say, I know you love me and I know you think I'm beautiful. That's why we got together. And I trust that. But there's this part of me that's insecure. So you'd have to embrace there's a part of me that's insecure, and you can fix that for me. You can help me. Again, so this is a way you could help me. It'll only take 2 minutes. Would you like to know what it is? She says, okay. And even if he's a little silly about it, because anytime you're asking a man to do something new, a part of him feels like I'm not doing enough now. He might even be aware of it, but he has to sort of lighten it up and, oh, okay, I'll try this thing. And that's how I felt with my wife, when I realized women needed hugs. I didn't take it that seriously until I realized how it made her feel so good. And now it became a real thing for me. And I love giving hugs, and I'm happy to do it. And I seek her out to do it. These are the keys, these little hacks. To hack a computer is to get it to do what you want. So this is hacking your biology so that you can feel the loving feelings inside your heart.
Mm-hmm. And I love the idea of like taking a break so that an argument doesn't, or a disagreement doesn't escalate. And I think that's a really powerful thing for couples to have in their tool of arsenals too, because otherwise, if a man's mad, like you were saying, if he keeps talking about it when he's mad, he's going to get more upset. He's going to get more mad. Things are going to escalate. This whole idea of taking a break, as long as the woman knows that he's going to come back around and that he's going to be willing to have that conversation with her, and that she is going to have that opportunity to express her feelings. It's just we have to de-escalate so it doesn't go the other direction and blow up, right?
Let's look at her side of it as well. He's going to come back to have the conversation, but she has to look at, okay, how am I communicating in a way which is triggering the worst part of my partner? And how can I sort of vent my feelings to somebody at that time, or write them out, whatever, so I can sort of settle down. And then I look at what the problem was, and I can make a request, or I can let him know, communicate in a different way. Because the closer you get to your partner, the easier it is to get bruised. It's like if you're dancing at a distance, no problem. But when you're getting close, you can step on feet. That's just the challenge of being in an intimate relationship. But the payoff is when you have your heart open, you can feel safety and trust. Here you can have someone take you to the highest levels of intimacy and happiness. And for many people, it will be the great joy of having fantastic sex and living a long life. That's not for everybody. Some people can live a long life without fantastic sex. I'm not judging that. I'm just 72 years old going, I didn't think it was going to be this great. It just gets better because, when you're raising kids and you're really busy and all that, you don't have enough time, to have this time together. So it can change and get better. And what I know to be the case is when couples are making love, there's so much more love in the relationship that the normal challenges are not so big. It's like you have a bank account, you're filling up your bank account. So when you're paying your bills, you're not like going on empty. you've got an abundance of love, and that's what making love can do. That's one of the tools that can do it. But I know lots of women are listening, and we're winding up now, and they're probably thinking, yeah, but I don't have a relationship to try all this stuff out with. Uh, Keep in mind that everything we're saying is a very powerful. If it relates to you in some way, you can apply it to your past relationships and see your own. See, if only I had this, if only I did that, if I only stood this, we wouldn't have had so much trouble. Okay, if there was trouble, that gives you more confidence that you can create a relationship now by looking at, gee, that relationship. It's often easy to see the other person's mistakes, not so easy to see our own, how we could have made it different, even though it might have been the wrong guy. Okay, that's also the case. But having the confidence of seeing how I contribute to the problem, I say that good endings make good beginnings, which is if you're able to then realize you're part of the problem, not just them, you can find forgiveness and gratitude for the good things that were there. That opens the door for finding the right person for you now. It creates a kind of polarity that makes you more attractive and other men more attractive to you when you're feeling not like a victim.
So beautiful, so beautifully said. And there were so many gems in this interview, John, and I'm so grateful to you. So grateful because every time we talk, I feel like you offer so many valuable things that are helping so many people out there. And I get the comments all the time from the women in my audience, from the women on my YouTube channel, and men. And you're just opening up so many new possibilities. And yeah, being able to take what we've learned, or even the disappointments or the heartbreaks from past relationships, or the quote unquote mistakes we've made, and taking those things forward and not being mad at ourselves, but basically looking at them as learning opportunities, looking at the techniques we're learning and talking about here today as learning opportunities, that can be something that can help propel you forward to a new possibility and greater intimacy and love than you've ever been able to experience up till now. So it's a very hopeful message that you're sharing in your books, in your talks, in the techniques that you're teaching. And it's so amazing to me how some of these little things can make such a huge difference in what is possible in a relationship.
It's literally like if you're going on a journey and maybe it's a 3-hour journey and just 1 degree off, you're going to end up somewhere completely different than just going
Right.
straight, just that little correction. And I feel like I want to add something to our conversation very quickly. Recently, I finally, after several years of promoting a certain nutritional product designed to help create hormonal balance. Okay, lower your stress level and create hormonal balance. People are always asking me what I can do for that. And I promoted something for over 20 years. And then with the shutdown, we weren't able to get the supplies because it comes from all around the world, these ingredients that I put together over 20 years ago. And now it's available again. So it's available at Amazon. And to find it there, because it's a complicated name, it's called elemental orotates. Orotates are a special substance that delivers minerals all the way to the genome for genomic support, because we have to support the genome and women to start producing more estrogen, and the genome is what determines testosterone levels in men. So this is something that's known to help the genome self-correct. If you're doing the self-corrective behaviors, then your body's able to make the adjustments necessary to support those behaviors. So I could speak for an hour about it, but I just want to briefly mention it's available, one for men, one for women, and they can go to MarsVenus.com. They can see at the top, it'll have a link to Amazon for elemental orotates. You can also be on we have so many wonderful blogs there with my daughter as well. And we have a class called Understanding Men, which is very, very helpful for women to understand men. I'm sure listening to all of our talks together, Michelle, that women will have a greater understanding of men. And with Lauren and I working together on this Understanding Men course, it's very comprehensive. It's a 6-week online class. I love it. I think it's really great. It is for women only, but if you're in a relationship, I recommend the man take the class with you, because it's amazing what men don't understand about themselves. Okay, as I'm trying to explain to women what men don't understand, and what women, for a man to realize what women don't understand about us, because just like women think, don't you realize what I need? And men just go, why is she doing this? She doesn't understand. She doesn't have to do that. So there's a lot of awareness, and so much of this is just awareness of these new insights to help us cope with this new, and it is a new male-female relationship where women can be completely independent in their work and have the ability to survive on their own. But also, what do you need a man for? Emotional intimacy, fulfillment, partnership. That it's all these emotional needs are now at the top of the list, but men have never been taught how to prioritize that, and women have never been taught how to motivate a man or teach a man what she needs for that emotional fulfillment. Because it's primarily, if I can make you emotionally fulfilled, I am emotionally fulfilled. I'll say that again. If I can support my wife in being emotionally fulfilled, I am emotionally fulfilled. That's the dynamic. It's not like, what do women need to do for me? No, it's how can I help her? Because if I can help her feel better, her reaction is going to be appreciation. It's going to be greater trust. It's going to be greater acceptance. And those are the messages that raise testosterone in men. So it's a beautiful win-win situation. I give to her, and if she receives it, I win as well. But we need to have education. We need to be reminded. We have to practice. It's like learning how to throw a basketball into the hoop. If you look at these, champions who do this, they practice 2 hours every day, to be able to make sure they can do that free throw. It's amazing. It takes practice. It's worth it. And it's enjoyable when you know the procedure.
Yeah, it's almost like we're not really taught these things, and most of our families of origin were not modeled these things that you're teaching, and yet we expect we're going to know this stuff like through osmosis. It's like expecting to know another language just, through osmosis. Like putting in the effort and energy to learn these things, it's so worth it because you can have an extraordinary relationship. And that is something that makes life so much sweeter. So, I mean, John, that I'm such an admirer of you and your work, and I highly recommend everyone go to John's website, MarsVenus.com. There's so many resources there. John's books are incredible. I mean, I'm just amazed at the body of work that you've put out into the world, John. And I just think you're a gift and a blessing to the world. And you've contributed greatly to my education and to my work. And I feel like as a result of that, I'm able to help people more. I'm able to help women more. It's enhanced my own relationship, my own marriage. And so I'm just incredibly grateful to you personally. And I know so many people in this audience love our talks, love our interviews. And I just thank you so much for the gems that you've shared. And I think every woman here listening should go to John's website and get their Understanding Men course, because when we understand more about each other, that opens up a whole new realm of possibility. And I want you to have happiness and success in your relationship. So grateful to you, John, and so grateful to connect again. And thank you so much for so generously sharing your wisdom. I love what we talked about. I think there were so many gems today.
Thank you, Michelle. Always a pleasure to spend this time with you. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, mine too. Take good care. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Be sure to click on the resources here. We're going to put a link to John's website and some of the things that he talked about today and some of his books in the description. And we're so grateful that we had this time to connect with John and to connect with all of you. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.